Okay. It's 7 o'clock on Wednesday, July 8th. This is the Economic Development Commission special or regular meeting. Carol,
Here.
Antonio,
Here.
I'm here. Lindsay,
Here.
okay. We have quorum, so we will get started. Does anybody have any amendments to tonight's agenda?
No. No.
No.
All right. I'm calling for a motion to approve tonight's agenda.
So moved. I'll second it.
Any discussion? Or we already did that. Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Abstentions? Motion carried. Approval, are there any additions or corrections to the June 17th special meeting minutes?
Not from my end.
Nope.
My end.
The motion, the minutes stand approved as distributed. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
All right. Are there any additions or corrections to the June 19th special meeting minutes?
No.
No.
Okay, the minutes stand approved as distributed. Is there a motion?
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion carried. Any correspondence? Okay, then we will start with the first item under old business, which is the presentation of the roadmap by Advanced Connecticut. I know Courtney and Sadie are on the line here. Do you want me to stop sharing my screen and you?
Yeah, I can share my screen and talk through it with you all.
Okay, hang on.
Okay. I think you have to, yeah, you have to unshare your screen. Perfect. Okay. Okay, so can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So thank you all for having us out tonight to talk through this roadmap. And I believe that you have all received it a little bit in advance, but you know, we can still talk through you know, all the action items that we put in there based on the feedback that we've heard from you all through the community survey, from talking with different community stakeholders. And yeah, and so feel free, you know, as we go along, we can discuss it. And if you have any questions or any comments, I'm happy to take those and we can add them in. This isn't necessarily a totally finalized version, so I'm happy to hear any comments or questions from you all. And so, yeah, so I will kind of jump into it then.
I did have a quick question, if
Yep.
you don't mind, just,
Sure.
you know, what is the outcome of this presentation of the roadmap? What are the actual next steps? What's in scope versus out of scope? The purpose, really.
So this is a plan that the town can use, basically outlining action items that, and I've kind of specified in the document, different groups that can be undertaking some of these action items. Some of it is, you know, relevant to the EDC and what type of actions the EDC can do in working to promote economic development. Some of it is more municipal staff, elected officials, different land use boards and commissions. So it's really kind of a guide for undertaking specific actions over the next few years. Okay. So, and again, I'll just remind you all, so we did the community survey, and that certainly played a big role in kind of informing what we've put forward. We also included a number of just kind of general best practices for municipal economic development that are kind of across the board things. Obviously, lots of things very specific to Durham as well. So the goals that we had focused on when we created these action items were assisting businesses experiencing challenges related to COVID, engaging businesses that are currently in town to ensure that they're being retained and are potentially expanding within town, and then finally promoting business attraction for target sectors. So I separated out the action items into a number of different categories. So we'll start with the kind of essential activities, and these are really kind of the basic activities that any town's economic development function should be looking to take on. So first we have support businesses affected by COVID. So this means the EDC, in collaboration with the town, with the First Selectman's office, working to develop an understanding of the regulations, the guidelines, any news coming out about kind of the reopening process, and then going out and engaging with businesses in the community, listening to them about what their needs are. Obviously, needs right now could potentially be different than what they would be otherwise, and just pointing them to different types of resources that could be helpful based on whatever needs they're looking for. And so I put in here, you know, the state's website.
Cindy, I'm still seeing the cover sheet. Is anyone else seeing the piece that you're talking to right now?
I'm seeing the same thing, the cover sheet.
Oh, really? Oh, this is...
So just,
Oh, it says my screen sharing is paused. That's why. Huh. Let's resume. Is that better?
Oh, that's better.
yes,
Okay, perfect.
thank
Okay.
you.
So yeah, so really just for this item, just going out and engaging with businesses in light of COVID, and really working to understand what their needs are and pointing them to the resources, whether within town or different types of organizations across the state that can provide them that support. Next, I have require regular communication between land use, economic development, historic district commission, and the Board of Selectmen. So I think that there at times are, you know, kind of different visions between these different groups for what economic development should be and what the future of Durham should be. So I think just having increased communication between these groups would be really valuable. So I've proposed doing quarterly kind of larger meetings that involve all these different players, just to talk about, you know, what projects are going on in town. Are we supportive of this? Are we not supportive of this? Are we all on the same page about this? Also looking to do maybe once a year kind of more of a retreat style workshop for everyone, and do some kind of more brainstorming work. Again, to just make sure that everyone is kind of moving in the same direction, and that there's understanding of why different boards and commissions, municipal staff, why they're kind of acting in the way that they are and making the decisions that they're making. Next, we have improving communication with residents about economic development. So that was something that we saw in the community survey. We saw a lot of kind of mentions of, you know, we would love to hear more about what's going on in town, or just some confusion about, you know, different development projects that didn't work out or whatever it might be. but I think just having the EDC kind of increase communication about what's going on in town related to different development projects, about the town's kind of broader vision for economic development, and collecting feedback from the community as well on what they'd like to see just kind of on an ongoing basis. I think that that'll go a long way to helping the community better support economic development and make them feel like they're really included. So next we have create a business list and post it online. So that's just simply working towards adding more and more business contacts to a list of businesses. That's obviously critical for being able to engage with businesses ongoing, reaching out to them, making sure that they're doing well. So you definitely want to be working on that list, and it's difficult to put together a comprehensive list right off the bat, but just looking at different sources and different ways to keep collecting that information over time is really important. Next, I have engage in regular business visitations. So again, just the importance of being engaged and involved with the businesses in the community, understanding what their needs are, and then pointing them to the various resources that are out there. And I think this is a great role for the EDC in particular, because you all are already out in the community on a regular basis, talking with businesses. So maybe just putting a little bit of more formality around this and saying, we're going to visit 5 businesses a month or whatever that might be. And I've also included a survey as an attachment that you should have gotten with the plan. That is a survey for doing business visitations, and it helps you collect and track all of the information that you want to be collecting so that you can be informed about what's going on with the business community in Durham. So next we have create a formalized process for taking economic development calls at town hall. So this is specific to town staff. So when a business calls, you just want to make sure that the information they're receiving is predictable and consistent, no matter who's answering the phone. So just basically municipal staff need to be putting a plan and a process in place and a script for how they're going to be answering those calls, and what types of information they need to be providing businesses, and making sure that that is consistent across the board. Next, we have streamlining the permitting process. So I know there's a relatively new town planner who's been working a lot on this already, and you guys are making great strides in that direction. But just put this in there as kind of a reminder that, it's really important for businesses to experience a relatively easy process. Otherwise, they can get discouraged, and the project might not come to fruition, or they might not look to Durham to do additional projects or whatever that might be. But streamlined permitting process is very, very important for promoting economic development. So moving on to the next kind of broader topic, we have stakeholder engagement. And so obviously this is just looking at how we can be connecting with different groups that touch the economic development process so that we can build opportunities. So engaging remote workers, and this is particularly in light of COVID, an important task, because there probably are a lot more people working from home in Durham now than there were, 6 months ago. So making sure that you're reaching out to those remote workers and determining, what their needs are to be successful. And, the more people that you have in the community, those people are then, spending money at local businesses and helping the economy move along with their discretionary funding, because now they're in Durham all day versus going to, New Haven or Hartford or wherever they might work. So definitely want to make sure that those people are happy and wanting to stay in Durham as they're doing their remote work. So next we have engage entrepreneurs and home-based businesses. So this is a group that often, kind of flies under the radar because they don't necessarily have storefronts, but they really are an important aspect of the local economy. They are selling their products in the local economy. They're buying products from people in Durham. And so just making sure that we're supporting those people too, reaching out to them and doing that by, posting flyers in public places, posting on social media, posting on the town's website, and holding events with topics that are kind of attractive to smaller home-based businesses, entrepreneurs, like putting together a marketing plan or doing a Shark Tank style pitch night or whatever it might be. And then once you have those people in a room, connect with them and determine what they need. And you never know, maybe they become really successful and then they move into a commercial space in town. So it's, again, that's an important group and an important part of the local economy that we don't always think about. So next we have engage economic development partner organizations. And this is really just kind of for all your information as you're going out and interacting with businesses. It'll be really important for you to have an understanding of the types of resources available to businesses. So, have a conversation with the Small Business Administration, with the Small Business Development Center, or with SCORE, or with the Middlesex County Chamber, whatever it may be, to make sure that you're aware of the services that they offer businesses so that when you're out in the community, that you can relay that information and make the right connections. Okay. So then we have make connections with higher education and tech schools in the area. So obviously Wesleyan and Middlesex Community College are very nearby, and I think that Durham can probably do more to take advantage of that. And so just starting that conversation is going to be really important. And I suggest that, the first selectman and the EDC chair go once a year to meet with the president of Wesleyan and or Middlesex Community College and just talk about kind of what the town's priorities are for economic development, what types of businesses are in town, and then talk with the university about, what types of academic programs they're putting out, any events that they're doing, opportunities to partner with Regional School District 13. So just have an understanding of what's going on so that, ultimately you want to be able to make connections between the students coming out of those universities and businesses in Durham based on what their talent needs are. And also, attracting some young adults to town to live would be another strong effort. So next we have local policies and programs. So that's kind of, again, the broader category. And this focuses on actions that we can be taking to put programs and policies into place to support businesses better. So first we have exploring rezoning opportunities, and I'll say we want to make sure that all the places that are currently available for business use should be filled up for the most part before we start looking about rezoning new areas for business use. But when that time does come, working with the Planning and Zoning Commission, and again, you're all going to be in contact more frequently, hopefully, and you have more of a shared vision. So working with them to decide where might be a good new area for rezoning to allow additional businesses in town, And the community survey that we did actually, we had specified some places. And so, I would suggest that you all look back at that as well, when that time comes. And you can certainly use that to guide you based on the feedback that we got. So next we have Beautify Main Street. So this one is largely referring to some of the historic homes that are on Main Street, and we suggest creating a historic homeowners association that all the homeowners can work together to make sure that they are kind of maintaining, keeping up their properties. They can apply for grants together, facade grants that would allow them to be compensated for some of the work that they could do on their homes. And they would just kind of police each other a little bit to make sure that these homes are being maintained properly, because obviously Main Street is a really important cultural part of Durham, and we want to make sure that it is, looking like it should. And I'll also just add that we put a comment in there that the town should work as well to address the facades of some of the town-owned properties on Main Street. Next, we have consider some creative uses for the Durham Fairgrounds. So obviously the Durham Fair happens, I think, for like 4 days every year. So, that's an underutilized space. It's a great space. And I think that the EDC should work with the Durham Fair Association to see if they might be willing to bring in some additional events, not at the same scale as the Durham Fair, of course, and events that kind of align with the Durham Fair's mission and values. So focusing on agriculture, doing a large regional farmers market, a holiday market, maybe doing a theater performance, a bluegrass music festival. So, starting that discussion with the Durham Fair Association, and then working, if they are amenable to that, working with them to get the right permits for these events. And yeah. So next I have in here, pursue grants to enhance downtown. So I know that Durham is going to be hopefully redoing or adding sidewalks downtown to promote walkability in the next 3 to 5 years. So that's a really important piece of this. And then just looking to do some additional placemaking. That's a great use for grant funding, doing, pocket parks, lighting, whatever it might be to kind of enhance the appearance, banners of downtown, and making it, again, really showcasing it as kind of the cultural center of the town, and making it a place that visitors want to come and do, historic house tours, and just a place that's attractive to people far beyond Durham. And I also have in here that the town should look into the community development block grant, which can facilitate the development of housing and might consider doing some more either mixed use housing, multifamily housing on Main Street, or right off Main Street. Because you're adding this walkability element, it would make a lot of sense to have this additional housing piece because that's a really desirable thing. And next we have the broader topic of promotional activities. So this kind of goes towards marketing. And so the first one is just kind of the broad market local businesses. And there's a lot of ways that you can do this. You should certainly be working with the Middlesex County Chamber of Commerce, because that's a great resource for helping to market businesses and, having them spread the word as well, working with you all on that. and also using your social media accounts, your website frequently, making sure that it's very active so that people are engaged. And then working to do some promotional programs. And I know you all, I think, have done Dine Local or Eat Local, Win Local. And so looking to do some additional kind of fun programs like that. I have looking to do maybe Shop Local, Win Local around different holidays like Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever it might be. But that certainly is a great way to get people out into the community looking to purchase products from local retailers. And then doing workshops for local businesses so that they can help market themselves. So bringing in the Small Business Development Center and SCORE to do workshops for the businesses on marketing so that, you know, beyond what you're able to do for the businesses, they can better help themselves. And at the end of this section, I added some resources, some examples of some towns in Connecticut that have done some strong marketing pieces. So we have a really good website, Facebook page, visitors website. I included as an attachment, kind of a data and information package. So just looking to those as some examples that Durham can use to kind of model its marketing materials after. Next, I have promote historical attractions. So like I mentioned before, I mean, the downtown is the cultural heart of Durham. And, you know, if it was, you know, if some of the facades were improved and we added some placemaking elements, I think it could be really attractive to bring in visitors, to look at the historic homes, do historic home tours. And so, you know, the EDC should work with these homeowners to see if they would be willing to give historic home tours or even, you know, some of the historic town-owned buildings, and tying that into other kind of promotional things like you get a discount at a local restaurant when you do this tour, or it's tied in with a historic farm visit or with a nature walk. So just getting creative about the assets that Durham has to bring in some visitors to town. And then we have supporting agricultural businesses. So of course, agriculture is a really important aspect of Durham's history. It's important to the people in Durham. And so we want to make sure that, you know, we're helping farmers in town succeed as the best they can. And so the EDC should look to make some partnerships kind of on behalf of the farming community. So, you know, working with local restaurants and seeing if they'd be able to do a farm to table night type of event where they, you know, partner with the local farm and do all locally grown produce and as part of the meal. And people from town would probably love to go participate in that event. So it's kind of a win-win. And then we have working potentially with the school system to have them put on some programming for kids and adults, and also with the Parks and Recreation Department, to have them put on events about the importance of farming in the community, how people can get involved in farming in the community, and just making sure that we're kind of promoting that as something that we should be celebrating, and that helps build support for farming in the community. Working with any local or regional farmers markets and making sure that all the farms in Durham are aware of them and helping them through the application process. Maybe you have, you know, a workshop where, you know, all the farmers, you work with the farmers to actually get through all these applications and kind of explain to them, and maybe even bring in the market master from the different farmers markets to speak to them about, you know, how they can get involved. We have here working with the Connecticut Department of Agriculture to better promote the Connecticut grown certification. So that's, you know, kind of an underutilized opportunity that all the farms in Durham should be promoting, that they are Connecticut grown. And then finally working with the Durham Fair Association and taking a look at their vendor list to see if you can kind of draw those people into those businesses into working with you on some of these agricultural initiatives and getting involved. And then the final section I have in here is business recruitment. So number one under business recruitment is creating a commercial real estate inventory, and that's so important. You have to know what's available when a business calls you up and says, hey, I'm thinking about coming to town. So just creating a spreadsheet of, you know, different property addresses and some of the relevant information that businesses need to be able to make a decision about that property, like utilities, like zoning, price, obviously, whatever it might be. So just keeping track of that and checking up frequently to be sure that, you know, checking with brokers to see what properties have gone off the market and what new properties are listed. I have here engage in business matchmaking, and that's kind of a broad category. So it really just means doing kind of business recruitment and business expansion work on behalf of the town, and just making sure that when a business has a need or, you know, financing, that you are able to match them with an investor or a bank, or if a prospective business has a real estate need, that you're able to then match that prospective business with, you know, a site, a broker, or if a business is in need of a certain raw material to make its product, that you can connect it with a supplier for that. So just making sure that you're aware of what the needs are and what the opportunities are, so that you can do that matchmaking successfully. Next, I have created a data package for business recruitment. So I attached an example of that, and you all should have received that, something that we did for the town of Beacon Falls. And it's not a super dense document. You can make it look, you know, aesthetically appealing, and, you know, you don't want to overload people with information, but definitely wanting to have a concise document that outlines some of the key pieces when businesses are making decisions, like distance and access to transit, time to major regional hubs, transportation, workforce, industries, large institutions, socioeconomic factors, and other relevant data. And then the final thing I have is coordinating a developer conference. So this kind of comes after you've done all this initial work to kind of build these partnerships and develop this inventory, have an understanding of what commercial real estate's available, have developed kind of an elevator pitch for the town on, you know, why do you want to locate in Durham? And then once you're kind of set up, then you can bring in developers, investors, brokers, you know, prospective business owners to town for a developer conference, where you could put everyone on a bus and drive them around and show them key real estate opportunities, and then, you know, bring them back to town hall or a restaurant or whatever it might be, and do a little presentation on, you know, why choose Durham, here are some of the key opportunities, some of the key assets, and, you know, leave them with some good informational materials so that, you know, they think of Durham next time that they are, you know, looking to locate their business there, or advising a client on where to locate, or whatever it might be. So with that, that is the full document that I've talked through, and I am happy to take any questions, comments, feedback. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Sadie. Does anybody from the commission have any comments or discussion points for Sadie? I will take that as a no, Sadie.
Okay, that's a good thing, I guess. But you can all, obviously this is a lot of information at once, so I would just encourage you all to take some time to read it. Feel free to email me, within the next week or so, if you have any comments or changes that you want to see made to it. Like I said, this isn't necessarily the final version of the document. And yeah, so we can just be in touch, and I appreciate your time tonight. So
Great. Thank you guys so much for joining us, for reading through it, and for your work.
great. Thank you.
All right. All right, so next on the agenda, we have, there are some items that Lindsay had added.
I'm back, Maggie.
Okay.
Sorry.
Some items that you had added, so I wanted kind of let you take the reins on the ongoing business list maintenance.
Yeah, absolutely. I sent a follow-up, I think it was a couple days ago now, to Laura, and I believe his name's John. I don't know his last name. Because Laura had kept sending a reminder to the internal team there to see if they're capturing the correct data for our business list when new businesses come into town. So I've been trying to get an answer on this since I think it was like November. So I am waiting to hear back on this. And I think there's a couple versions of the business list, if I'm not mistaken, right? That live out there somewhere.
I believe so. And so I guess, this is important if, this ties into that roadmap. So.
Okay. So I will just dig in my email for the latest versions that I did see go out. I think there was 2, like I said, and then I'll keep you guys posted when I hear back from Laura and John.
Okay.
Lindsay,
Yes.
is there a way that they can get a more accurate list based on the tax rolls on the businesses that pay taxes in town?
Yeah, so that's how the list actually originated. We got the list from the town. So all the people that pay taxes. And then what we did like 2 years ago at this point is we kind of removed some of the miscellaneous things like vendors, like Coca-Cola machines, right? So we
Gotcha.
took all of those off, and then it's just been evolving, right? So as we get like additional phone numbers, or if we get email addresses or websites or something like that, we've been adding to it.
Okay.
And then that's where the request from the town, when new businesses do come in, we want to make sure Laura and team are capturing, that
Mhm.
the phone number, the email, etc.
Good.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
it's Carol. Since Peggy's no longer in that department,
Yes.
there's a new person. My question is, does it go through them or would it go through the town clerk when they register with the town?
I'm not actually sure, but Laura did copy in John, this man named John. I don't know his last name.
That's Phillips. He's the assessor. Yeah.
Okay, yes, so that was him. And I just haven't gotten a response.
Okay.
Yeah.
That might be something that the newest assistant could put together for us. I mean, I don't know, but with the reevaluation going on, I don't know how soon they'll answer to us, but it's a possibility.
Right. Do you know the new assistant's name?
Oh, I know she lives on Main Street. I can't think. It'll come to me. I'm having a senior moment.
Okay.
Hey, Carol, it's Kristen. It's Riyadh. The last name's Riyadh.
Yeah.
She lives on Main Street. Riyadh.
Lynn Riat. Got it. Thanks, Kristen.
All right. The Blue Ribbon Business Award, I guess we've stopped it for, gosh, the third and fourth quarter of this year. I guess discussion. The purpose was to, just to bring Antonio and Carol up to speed, was, and Lindsay, I don't know how long this has been going on. It's been going on since I started last August. Business quarterly, we would take kind of recommendations from businesses in town or
The community.
residents in town for them to kind of submit why one of our, their favorite small business, why they should be selected for this small business award. And then they get, I believe, an award and an article in the newspaper and, some added publicity and things. I guess, should we continue with it? Should we kind of pivot and try to steward our businesses a little bit differently? That's general discussion on.
I would like to put it on hold at this point.
I agree with Carol for the simple fact that, we're still getting over this COVID thing.
Yeah.
And a lot of businesses have been hurting. And so
Yep.
we really don't know when it's all, if it's ever all said and done, what's going to be left standing.
Right.
And right now what they need is more community support by the way of, being able to conduct, keeping things local, that kind of thing.
Yeah, agree.
I agree too. Do we need to make a motion to pause it or are we good?
I think we're all in agreement. Yeah.
Um,
Well, I'll make the motion that we pause the Blue Ribbon Business Award event or recognition until further notice, basically, because we have no idea how
Right.
things are going to turn around. So,
Okay. And I'll second it.
all aye.
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 Okay. Small Business Saturday Initiative. It will come up pretty quickly, but again, with COVID,
Right.
I'm again pretty hesitant I don't know what it's going to look like this year with, this is the American Express Saturday after Thanksgiving shopping.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, we always did or not always, but we did the passport. But yeah, I'm in favor of putting this on hold as well. We don't know what it's going to look like then.
Lindsay, do you want to make that a motion?
Yeah, I will make that a motion to put
Okay,
Small Business Saturday Passport to Derm Initiative activity event on hold.
I'll second.
All aye.
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 And this next one, Maggie, I can just jump in here. So this was the business impact survey results that came out. And I think what we discussed the last meeting was just chatting with Laura to make sure she was going to be sending some communication out. Thank you for response, even though we got limited responses, right? Just making it known that she's hearing the feedback that we are receiving through our surveys. I don't know if anybody had reached out. I'm happy to send an email.
I agree. I don't know if anybody has reached out and if there was outreach, if there was anything that came of it. So I do think we should follow up. Lindsay, if you're comfortable doing that, I'll take you up on it.
Yep, absolutely. I'll send an email tomorrow. I think if we wait any longer, it'll just go stale.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
I think it's important, as now that, the governor's kind of paused phase 3 and things like that, I think not only including a note from Laura, but also sharing some of those resources that we can, that the state can provide. And I thought that the goal of this was for Laura to not only learn how we can help our businesses, but also so Laura can take that information and share it with the group that she's part of on the state side. And I'm hoping that we can share kind of what she's done with that information to advocate for our small businesses in town.
Right.
Makes sense, yep.
All right, so, and then the Durham EDC Business Support billboard. I personally haven't seen it up, but I haven't been driving much.
Okay, I have some information on that. I called the billboard company today to find out what was going on with it because we hadn't heard anything and it wasn't up when it was supposed to be. It's scheduled to go up this week and run until August 2nd. But I asked for a copy of the final contract and it didn't get here by our meeting tonight. They said they'd send it, but I didn't get it. My question is, I thought that that it said, correct me if I'm wrong, that it would be by June 30th, the contract. So if we're at a contract, is it still good? Is our contract still in, or is it null and void?
It was my understanding from Cheryl that because there was a delay in signing the contract, it might not happen right when we thought it would, but they would fit us into their next available slot.
But that should be written in the contract, correct? And we don't have a copy of the finalized contract signed.
Correct. I can reach out to Jacqueline to see if she can send me a copy.
Okay, because, yeah, maybe they have it because I spoke to Patrice at the billboard company and she said she would have it to us by tonight, but it didn't come over. So I was hoping that we would have it so we would know to discuss it.
Okay. I'll ask Jacqueline for it. And then maybe we can, once we get the copy of the contract, I guess we can review the dates and make sure that if they put it up by Friday, 7/10 to 8/2 is the exact dates that or duration that they promised us.
Yeah, she told me they promised it 30 days. So is that's probably 30 days. There's what, 31 days in a month. So it might be a little short.
I think it's a little short, but
Yeah, it's a little short.
okay. Do we want to argue that it's short or do we just want to let it go?
Well, if it says for 30 days, we should get the 30 days worth. I wouldn't get a refund.
I would imagine they would have to, if it says 30 days in the contract, they would have to honor the 30 days. So even if it went up on the 10th, they would have to keep it up for 30 days till August 10th.
I
August
agree,
10th.
but when she told me, Antonio, that the date was only till August 2nd, that's what brought a red flag up to me because that's not 30 days.
Mm.
We really need to see a copy of the final contract.
Okay, so I will get that and I guess depending on what it says, like we have to do a special meeting, review the terms and conditions if they're not what we agree to, or if what she's isn't what the contract states.
Do you know if they've been paid, Maggie?
I don't know. I don't know anything about the financials that ended June 30th.
Okay.
And this was coming out of Laura's budget, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
I'll inquire with Jacqueline and see what I can get.
Okay, and if I get anything in the email tomorrow morning, I'll forward it on to everyone.
Great. I added EDC communications, just because, I'd like us to, I think there's opportunity to be a little bit more transparent with one another, as it relates to a commission, and then also with how we interface with, the selectman's office. I don't know if anybody has any additional comments, but that's just my feeling. I think a little bit more transparency so that everybody's on the same page, and that as a commission, we're kind of owning our contract, and making decisions and guiding that process versus just signing contracts and turning, I guess, the baton over.
Well, communication is very important, as you guys know, with any organization. And you're right, there has to be more of that. The other thing is, and I'm probably going to beat a dead horse here, but it's important. I'm new to this, so all the information that I can get or all the help I can get and I can gather is greatly appreciated. I'm not a businessman, but I understand the concept of what economic development is trying to do. And as far as I'm concerned, we have a mission statement, and I'll say it again. It's important that we know and we understand what are the goals for the town coming from the perspective of the Board of Selectmen. What is it that, they would like to see going forward, besides the stakeholders, besides the citizens of the town, because it gives us a foundation to work off of. So communication is key. So for example, if there's a businessman or a business that's reaching out to the Board of Selectmen regarding them potentially bringing their business here, even though we're not experts, we may not be experts in certain areas dealing with a business moving into town. It'd be nice if we were aware of that, because if we could do some outreach in some capacity, then we can help the Board of Selectmen and we can help the town itself try to woo the businesses in.
Yep, I absolutely agree, Antonio. And I think that's been missing in the past.
And yeah, you guys would know that better than I, because I've only been here a few months. So
It has been missing 100%. I feel that the Economic Development Commission should also help bridge the gaps where if a business wants to do X, we can help them as it relates to with the town planner, with planning and zoning, and connecting them with services and support and things like that.
Correct.
So I guess we should just kind of share that with Laura.
Yeah.
And just continue to share it.
Yeah, continue to share it. And then also we can lean on what Advanced CT just put together. I mean, it says it over and over again in that document, just
Correct.
keeping us in the loop, and we can work together.
Perfect.
I would suggest that we send an email to all the selectmen expressing that, not just the first selectman.
Yes.
So many times the selectmen say they don't know what's going on. And this is an issue where I think that they all need to be in the loop.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, and I think that maybe as we communicate as a commission to the selectmen, we always do all three of them versus just having it so siloed.
Absolutely.
As a commission,
Absolutely.
we should be emailing all of the selectmen.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. The other thing, just let me go in there. I was trying to think about how that money went with the, as you were talking, I was digressing myself here. I think money came out of the contingency fund for that. I have to go back and look. I don't remember how that all happened with the billboard, but I know it came from somewhere because we were short funds, but I just don't remember how it came out finalized.
Okay. Okay. I can also, ask Jacqueline tomorrow when I ask for the copy of the contract since she did the minutes too.
Yeah, I'd have to go back through and look at the minutes. I just don't remember.
Okay.
Hi, Maggie. It's George. There was a transfer of 750 that went into your budget, EDC.
Okay. Thank you, George. Lindsay, the next item is the EDC activity report. Do you want to report, talk about this since Janet emailed it to you directly?
Yes, I'm not sure if I did forward it on to you guys. I'm not sure if you had a chance to take a peek. I guess, I mean, I can maintain the activity report if you guys would like me to. It looks like it's just high level. We can get into as much detail as we want. I can work on it from now until our next meeting and then just share what I have, if that sounds good to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's fine.
All right, I'll take a stab.
Thanks, Lindsay. I'm happy to help where needed as well.
Yeah, okay. It'll definitely be a team effort, but I'll clean it up and add what we have been working on. So I'll take care of that. And then ongoing social media was another one of mine. I am an admin of the page. I'm not sure if anybody else is, but I can make whoever else wants to be an admin. Because I think it was Janet before, and she was the one who added me as an admin. So does anybody else want to be added?
You could add me if you like, and if I have something to contribute, I'll make sure we as a group,
Yeah.
discuss it first.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, if any businesses kind of send us anything to the email, we'll help promote it, we'll share, do all of that fun stuff. So as you guys are out there, if you guys hear of any like cool promotions going on, whatever, just send them over to myself or now Antonio and we can post it. And then also just doing a little bit of digging on a couple other like towns EDC pages just to see what they did. I don't know if you guys have watched any other ones that are like worthy. Anything?
I watch Madison's.
You watch Madison's? Is anything good?
I think that they have just, I think their town Facebook pages are great in general, personally.
Okay.
I know that they're a little bit, they're not in the same bracket that we are.
Right. I'll take a peek. I haven't looked at them.
Yeah, I'll start looking too.
Yeah. But yeah, just get those little thought starters going and then we can, hopefully come up with a content calendar. I was maybe like a year ago or something when I was super energetic and didn't have a baby. I was, posting a lot, but that has slowed down. So if you guys have any cool ideas that we can do, just let me know.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Thanks, Lindsay. Thanks, Antonio.
Any other items for old business, or I guess we just pop into new business? We had talked about potentially doing a EDC business acquisition billboard. I think we need to kind of get our heads around the roadmap that Sadie and Courtney just presented, in my opinion, and understand COVID a little bit more and what properties might be available and kind of regroup a little bit before we go out with another billboard.
Yep.
I
Agreed.
agree.
Okay. So we'll pause on that. And then we had been talking about potentially engaging with another consultant. So I had recommended Bob Santee to Janet. Bob, I did his daughter's wedding many years ago. He used to be the president of CERC, and he does it independently, and I believe he agreed that he would do it for $100 an hour. Recognizing we don't have a budget or anything right now, I think again, we should just regroup and kind of figure out as a commission what our top priorities are. Because what we had asked Advanced CT to do for us, they included in the roadmap that we needed. So I was a little surprised by that. And, you know, one example is that we asked them to kind of come up with a master vacancy kind of
Mm-hmm.
list. And then they put that in the report that we needed it. So I think the scope of services shifted, which we've discussed. And so I think we need to go back to the drawing board and really talk as a commission, this is what we need strategically, and then be able to have a better educated conversation with a new consultant to get an accurate proposal, should we choose to engage with one.
I agree.
Agreed.
Okay. Which would fall into that three, and we can help kind of, I guess, work together as a commission where, and hopefully with the Board of Selectmen, the Planning and Zoning Commission, Historic Commission, to understand what the 3 to 5 year strategic plan is. In a perfect world, that would kind of come from the Board of Selectmen and kind of where they're hoping the town goes and how we would fit into that plan. I'm not sure if they're having those conversations or hoping to have those conversations, and then reporting out accordingly.
That is, I just want to share something really quick along those lines. So something was mentioned about, I believe George wanted to kind of have some sort of a workshop, especially for that kind of purpose, I believe, where all the key players that play a role, especially in economic development, would have an understanding of what's going on. The other purpose of the workshops would be for somebody like me to get a better understanding of what I'm supposed to be doing, how I'm supposed to be contributing, in addition to, again, getting to know what the goals are for the town and for the Board of Selectmen. And on one of the meetings that I was listening in on, I don't know if it was planning and zoning or whatever, I got the impression that there are certain people on certain commissions that won't even entertain the idea of a workshop that would in some way bring us all together. So that kind of reluctance and resistance is counterproductive to what we're all trying to do. So, you know, I think it's something that we should shoot for, we should work for, and we should be supportive of. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that when I listened in on one of the meetings, the reluctance that was in the voices just blew my mind. So I guess it's easier for me because I'm a transplant to Durham. So, you know, I don't belong to a clique and I don't have any connections. So.
Well, the other thing right now is that this is a real growing process for us because
Yes.
of COVID-19. There's new people. We're new. Antonia and I are new. You have a couple of more people coming on to fill the vacancies that are now, you know. So this is really a good time for us to build the EDC.
Yes.
And put our ideas together and look at everything differently and go to the different commissions and boards and work with them and tell them that we want to work with them so that we can all be on the same page.
Yeah.
I know being on infrastructure right now, we're reaching out to Frontier and Comcast for the broadband. Because it's becoming very important to businesses in town, available to them in the future. So this is also going to play a part with what EDC can go after and look for, and, you know, to help bring in. So I think this is a really good growing time for all of us. So and as long as we can get our ideas together and then we can present to the town what we're in, you know, what we would like to do, and that would make it a lot easier if we need money, if we come through with a real proposal. So I think this is a great time for this committee to move things ahead.
I agree. I think we can guide the conversation in a strategic way in hopes that we receive buy-in from other commissions.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Well said.
We kind of already talked about the EDC involvement in potential businesses in the EDC communications, but again, just bringing us in the loop in the beginning when somebody expresses interest at the town hall, which was echoed in the advanced DT roadmap, that we should be brought in so that we can have involvement in cultivating and making sure that they're comfortable as they're looking around town, and providing them with the resources and connections that they might need to move their business to town. And then the last item on new business is the election of officers. We are, I believe, without a chair and a vice chair, and I've been the acting secretary.
by Robert's rules, Maggie, you've you're doing a great job. You've moved up, but if we're putting names out there, I would like to nominate Maggie to be the new chair.
I second that.
I definitely third it. Maggie, do you want to be the chair?
I've thought long and hard about this. I'm definitely, yes, I will take the
Yay. All right.
Yay!
Yay. I promise to help you as much as I can.
I'm really committed to the strategy and moving and kind of regrouping and moving this forward. So thank you. I guess
Thank you.
Yes.
we need to elect a vice chair.
I nominate Carol as the vice chair because of her knowledge of the town and, you know, her accessibility to certain individuals and information.
I will second that, Carol.
You heard it.
Okay.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Aye.
And then a secretary.
Unfortunately, I'm out because I only type 10 words a minute. So that leaves Lindsay.
Lindsay.
I think Lindsay would be great.
Yes.
I know the minutes are challenging, but she's kept all of us kind of, she has every document you could ever imagine.
No, definitely. Yeah, that sounds good.
I second that. Lindsay.
All right.
I agree. I'll third it.
All right. Okay. We're at the number 9 on the agenda, public comment. So I know we have a couple of people tuning in. If you have public comment at this time, please unmute yourselves and comment.
Laura, do you want to go? Well, I know Laura was on the line, but I wanted to say that I really enjoyed your discussion tonight amongst the group. Some of your goals and objectives, I think they're spot on, and it sounds like a really good group. There is help on its way. There will be a couple more members that are brought on Monday night's meeting. But one of the things that I would suggest, just personally, Lindsay and Maggie, you guys grew up here, and there's a reason that you were attracted to Durham. You are young. I'm not saying Carol and Antonio are old, but it's a good blend. I mean, everybody has an issue with Durham, a reason they're here. Our strengths is what I'm looking for. What I'd love to see from expanding the grand list perspective, something we haven't had in a while, really is a you know, a brochure for the town from an EDC perspective. And I know you guys have no money, but I think at this point, what we're looking for is a plan, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance. And then I know there's money in contingency that we can transfer funds in to make things happen. You guys aren't on a break for a year. This is really a strategy session, strategy period. And I think some real good things can happen. But from a brochure perspective, or, you know, why would a business want to come here? Some of the things that were laid out on the roadmap today are important, but also look at your economics of Durham. I mean, some people are looking, you know, what's, I don't care if it's the wealth of the town. I don't care if it's the road system of the town. I don't care if it's the train rails, you know, coming into the industrial park. But when you look at the traffic studies on Route 17, Route 68, 77, 79, I mean, at one point there were 30,000 cars a day that passed through Durham. I think that's a sales point. People definitely do travel through Durham. Yes, it is looking a little old. We do definitely need to do some improvements, both from the town perspective and the residents' perspective. But I really do think that's a question of, you know, once somebody starts, it kind of, the ball gets rolling and it will pick up. You know, the sky is the limit. You guys are at a point where, you know, any idea is a good idea, and what you guys are doing and discussing, I think is all positive. But I would love to see, if a prospective business comes into town, someone just wants to know, what do you guys have? We have information to give them. And yes, most definitely that you guys are involved in the loop. You know, there's no reason anyone would want to be on a board and commission in Durham if they don't get the satisfaction of closing the deal, you know, being involved in the process from beginning to end. And I would absolutely agree with that. I would love to see that kind of participation throughout on all boards and commissions. All participants, not just the chairmans of the commissions, but you know, right through. We're asking people to give up time and to be involved. And I think we owe it to them to make sure that their voice is heard throughout. So that's it. I just want to say it sounds really promising. I was really pleased with what I heard tonight. And I think it sounds like a real good group. So thank you, guys.
And I just want to thank you too.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
Yeah, thank you, George, for being so enthusiastic, and, you know, knowing we have your guys' support it just makes us feel that much more important, and we're doing something for a cause. So thank you.
We can maybe go back to that slogan. Lindsay, I think it could be cool to create, you know, that similar to what we're going to use for the text for the cultivation billboard or acquisition billboard. We can kind of maybe make a play off of that to maybe attract some business and put something really great together.
Mm-hmm.
Any other public comment? Alrighty. We don't have any bills to pay, to my knowledge. So I guess it's 8:14. I'm calling for a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:14.
So moved.
I'll second.
All in favor say aye.
Bye.
Aye.
Alrighty, good night, everyone.
Have a
Good
good night,
night.
Maggie.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care.